So a few things I want to talk about today, but try to put it in a good nut capsule so everybody can get what I'm trying to share. Um, it's important that whether you do online classes or the in-person class, that when you're watching me do it early on, you can follow, you can mimic, and you can hear the instructions. But once you learn how to do it, um, you don't want to keep watching me do it. And from time to time, you can glimpse and see what I'm doing, and that's okay too. But the reason why you don't want to watch me doing it and you're doing it at the same time, that means I'm doing it for you. You're following me and just doing the movements, which you get some benefit. But over time, as you're here for 1 year, half a year, or even longer than that, you want to be able to do the movement and be in your own space. This way, you learn to take more ownership of what you're doing. We do it as a group. We watch each other. We support each other. And that's important as well. But over time, uh, as you're doing it, you want to get into your own mental space, your own feeling that you're doing it, it belongs to you. And you start connecting with the feeling of what you're doing on your own. But if you watch me, then you're going to lose that opportunity over the long period. Okay, so keep that in mind. Um, and also, watching the screen is not good because depending on where you have your phone, you might tilt your head. Now the energy flow is not going up. That's also not good as well. So you always want to be upright in a bow-like stance. But once your head goes down and you're looking at the screen, that will also affect the energy flow. So among the many things. So again, as a recap, make sure that you, once you know the movement, you become more familiar with it. You want to do it on your own to start getting more responsible on how to do it, why I'm doing it. And this way you start to understand the instructions and they become yours. Okay? So that's one thing I wanted to bring up. Another thing that I wanted to bring up, we've talked about it before as a particular subject. One is leaking energy and energy flow. They actually are similar in terms of what they represent on the opposite ends. Okay. If you have proper energy flow, it's moving correctly, you won't have leaking energy. If you have leaking energy, then you won't have the energy flow. Some of the obvious things that people know that will affect the energy flow is if you use force, right? Once you use force, then the energy flow will not go correctly. It'll just be local in that area. Like if you use your arms, right? Then that will not work. If you're resisting and you're contracting with tension, that will also have leaking energy and the energy flow will not be good. In fact, the energy will stay in certain parts of your body. That's why some people complain about shoulder pain, neck pain, back pain, leg pain. It's because the energy is not moving. Okay. So let's look at a couple of maybe two or three other things that may not be too obvious to the average person when they're practicing IST, meaning that they're not aware of it and they're doing it already, that affects the energy flow. Okay. So one of the things that will have leaking energy and not proper energy flow is that if you don't allow the energy to do the movement. Okay, so that's why they say 一道, 七道, 七道, 精道. The intention will guide the chi will guide the movement, and the movement becomes the chi becomes the movement guiding it. So when you're doing the form, you don't want to do it fast. When you're doing the pendulum, you don't want to do it fast. They always say when you learn IST, do it slow, do it with proper instructions so that you can feel the chi going down, you can feel the chi coming up, and that will help the energy flow. That will limit the leaking energy on going different parts of the body. So as you become more song, you'll feel that. You won't feel it right away. So don't be frustrated. As you know, Sifu Chen has always told me, 傻傻练. I mean, foolishly keep practicing with proper instructions and don't think about improvement. Just keep working at it, keep working at it. And then not suddenly, but gradually, you'll start to feel what the essence represents in terms of doing it internally. And you will feel that energy moving, going down and coming up, and it will just feel right. That's the energy. Another part that people overlook is they're still breathing from the chest. That will stop the energy flow. Once you breathe from the chest, that means that you're stuck between your chest and your shoulders and your neck. It just has nowhere to go. You're still breathing from up here. We've always said at least breathe from your stomach going down. But even when you're breathing from your stomach going down, if you don't have the energy moving, you may still get stuck in your chest area. So they say the chest, keep it sunken, keep it soft. And when that happens, the opposite side of the chest going down is part of your spine. When the chest goes down, the spine will know how to rise. Okay, that's what's happening. That's the opposite. The chest goes down, the spine rises. You actually feel it. So from all the Song Gong exercises, which helps to cultivate that, you will feel it more and more. And when you feel the chest go down and the spine comes up, now the energy flows, and now your spirit will rise normally. And you have this duality of constantly sinking and feeling your spirit constantly rising. You'll feel that. And when that happens, the energy is flowing regularly. Okay. So another part that people kind of overlook, besides allowing the energy to help it flow regularly, so you have let the energy to guide it, and keeping the chest sunken and the spine to rise, is cultivating the feeling of opening the joints. Okay. Yeah, just how do you open the joints, right? It's not something you can look and feel it and manually do it. Opening the joints is a feeling. Opening the joints is part of your proper alignment so that you can allow the joints to open. There's other people online that really dive into it about tendons and ligaments, and they talk about kinetic energy and all these things. It all relates to the feeling of opening the joints. I think somebody with stronger, biology. That's why it's important to study biology, because it talks about these joints and how it opens. But that's not my area of forte. But someone that understands biology and physiology, they go into deeper types of vernacular words and how to explain about the joints. fall into ligaments, tendons. They talk about this kinetic energy and how it connects from top to bottom. That all has to do with joints. But at least for me, the way that I explain it in a more simple layman's language is with proper alignment and your structure is correct, connecting all the energies, you will feel the joints open more and more because they go together. You can't have good structure without having your joints open. They work in conjunction. You can't have one and not have the other. Okay. So those things play a very important role not to have leaking energy. And on the opposite side, when you don't have leaking energy, you don't have to keep on resetting. The energy will flow regularly. Okay. So, and that gets back to what I mentioned as I was watching some of you do the rotational rooting. So, Roger, this is very important. Okay. So just watch. So a lot of people are still doing it this way, and as they make progress, you want to avoid doing it like this, okay? So watch this. Do you guys see what's happening?
Yeah.
So what's going on is that it's not continuous. You're bringing it around. You're stopping it here to bring it around again. See? Of course, I'm exaggerating a little bit to make a point, and that point is you don't bring it around and stop it and then go again. Okay, so you're doing that a little bit, Roger, but not to that extent. As you bring it around, you bring it down. As you bring it down, you're already going around again already. See, it's a circle that has continuous energy. It's continuous. I don't bring it down to stop it to bring it around again. Just that fraction of a second will change how the energy flows, how it rebounds up. Because you're stopping it for a fraction of a second, it changes the momentum, how things flow. So when I'm bringing it around, it's continuous. See? It's a circle that has no corner. It's a circle that has no leaking energy. And the energy continues to go down and continues to return down as you do it before you go into the next drill. So that part is really important. So I said something today that just kind of came out through the instruction that I've never said before in these classes. What I said is that, and it's just something that came up into the teaching. And these things will come up from time to time because I'm doing it already. And sometimes I just say it because I'm doing it already, and then it becomes a phrase that's important. That is, I say, energy rebounds from the center, permeating to the body. But when it returns back to the ground, So when energy is coming back into you, yes, you feel it through the fingertips, but it goes back to the ground right away. It's almost instant. So you don't want to get stuck and this plays out in two-person push hands. If you're touching me, I don't go from the hands to take it down to the body. Once you touch my hands, it's already in the ground already. That's how fast it is. So in the practice of solo drills, don't get stuck by letting it start from the fingertips, taking your mind to your fingertips and letting it go down to the bottom of your feet. Yeah, that's the genesis of where it starts, but you want your mind always to your feet. It rebounds from the ground going up, and when it comes back to the ground going down. That's where you want it. Okay? If you do that, then you don't get stuck at the point of contact. Because, Roger, if we're doing 2-person drills, you're coming at me with incoming force. If my mind goes to the point of contact, what happens? I'm stuck already. I'm already in trouble. By the time I want to take it down, it's too late. So when you touch me in 2-person verification drills, once you're touching me, I'm already in the ground already. That's what you want. You permeate from the ground going up, and when it comes back in, it goes back to the ground. Okay? So that's very important. We'll talk more about that as time goes. And then for the ones that can make it to the in-person class, we'll continue to work on that to make sure that we follow that principle. Okay?